Hello and Allah Apra, dear friend. Time is 11:47. Today, 8th of July 2011. I am Abbas Damori, the elder of Baha'ullah, the city of Guelph, trying to fulfill my responsibility. I promised last night I will be talking about certain predictions that have come to me. I've been informed about it, and the time has come that I publicly announce what they are. However, as I was today traveling my usual city to Toronto, I had some more contemplations on the last night subjects that I thought I must explain a bit more on the correlations between the matter and the spirit, between the body and the soul, between these huge principles, the spiritual principles, the spiritual philosophical principles of the Baha'i faith, that the material world and the spiritual world runs parallel, as Abdullah says. Anyways, I prepared some note, and it says that how much one can really predict, it depends on how developed, how progressed is his soul, and also how is it correlated to his brain, how much information he has. He's like a great poet. He wants to write down. His feelings are great, but he has to have the vocabulary, and he has to have informations, proper pen and paper or a computer today in order to do that. There are great feelings, but you do not have the vocabulary, then you cannot explain yourself. The same with the situation is in the dream. Many people cannot explain it because what they see is blurred visions, distracted one, not a continuous one. There's not enough vocabulary to put this story together. And this relationship of matter and spirit is really the fundamental cause of a lot of unprecedented events in the planet, few of which you are going to see soon. Just explain this and try to demystify it, and that's how I am. I like to explain things around. Nowadays, if the person has some kind of a beard or some kind of a dressing and a manner of talking and pressing and with too much of sentiment, says things that is not understandable, people suspect him that he might know something then. As soon as they understand him, they said, oh yeah, okay, that was nothing. But the clue is that we have to demystify these things. Do not talk something that is not clear to you yourself. I've seen the whole book of Jean-Paul Sartre. All of it is one sentence, a couple of sentences. He has written a big book because the subject was not very clear to him. So, let's say, for example, a person becomes seriously sad, some bad news comes, seriously becomes depressed. Of course it's going to affect his body, isn't it? Suddenly you come in a situation that you become petrified, you become really scared. Immediately the physical body responds to something that's totally metaphysical. And nothing is really physically attached to you. You just heard the news, and because of that all of a sudden you're devastated. Your entire physical body bends under it. Just like the software viruses, they can destroy the hardware of the computer sometimes. There's a good one I found, a very good one, in these correlations. Abdullah explains See how important it is, what he says, if you contemplate on it. In the page 12 of the Citadel of the Fate, the book of Shoghi Effendi, this is something Abdul Baha said, and Shoghi Effendi is bringing it up. Quote, should the fire of the love of God kindled in Greenland, he significantly assures of them in one of the tablets of the divine plan, all the ice of that country will be melted, and its cold weather become temperate. That is, if the hearts be touched with the heat of love of God, that territory will become a divine rose garden and a heavenly paradise, and the souls, even a fruitful tree, will acquire the utmost freshness and beauty. Efforts. The utmost effort is required. That's not the word of Abdul Baha, that's Shoghi Effendi is quoting them. This situation occurs many times. When Baha'ullah was transferred to Akka, the present Israel, as written, I read in a book, that the weather was so bad that the bird that was flying fell down. Imagine how bad and foul the weather was. And as soon as Baha'u'llah comes, the weather changes in no time. Why? Because the Suez Canal was open. Only because Baha'u'llah entered. And how his entrance and his presence can change the environment, he does. Abdul Baha says so. Just like, bad news can shake the body, also good news can, make it to heal. So, another big quotations is of Abdul Baha, Baha'ullah, in the Gleaning. I brought that up. It's in the Gleaning, I have to read this, that how Abdul Baha'ullah explains that the souls, they're dead, they're not here. Their spirit actually affects his life. They do. But like the writing of Einstein, who's dead, but his writing is there, it can affect the people who read it. But the actual soul of a spiritual man, he says, is like a leaven. Let's see, quote, in the Gleaning from the writing of Baha'u'llah. The soul that had remained faithful to the cause of God and stood unwaveringly firm in his path, shall after his ascension be possessed of such power that all the worlds which the Almighty had created can benefit through him. Such a soul provided at the bidding of the ideal king and the divine educator, the pure leaven that liveneth the world of being, and furnisheth the power through which the arts and the wonders of the world are made manifest. Consider how meal needed leaven to be leavened, wet. Those souls that are the symbols of detachment are the leaven of the world. Meditate on this and be of the thankful. So there you see the correlations of the souls that are back there. Sometimes I say that jokingly when I look at the sky and I see turns, the clouds, it says that the souls are painting on the other side. So we are in a direct effect. We can see this effect between the metaphysic and physics in ourselves. Just a simple bad news, which is news. It might be nothing to somebody else who hears the same words, but if we hear it because it's concern us, our body can fall. We can get shocked to death even sometimes because of the bad news. So there's clearly an effect that we can see, and this affects is not just within our soul that we can see it. It's like the entire society has that kind of a things. So now, can you believe what Baha'u'llah says? All these inventions and everything else that happens is because of them. Adam dies, it becomes a backup for Noah to bring a progressive revelation. Noah dies, now Noah and Adam teams up together, their soul, to back up Abraham. And Abraham joins them, then bring Moses. And Moses is there with them, they bring Jesus, and Jesus is there, causes Muhammad to come. And Baha'ullah says, in a dream that he had, it says, I saw all the prophets of God were crying for me. And I asked them why. They said, because of your trouble, you master of the world. We are crying for you. He said, I joined them and I cried. So, as the soul transfers from here to there, which is not a there, of course, and that affects here immediately. So, now, imagine the whole city, the whole city become, they're all sons of a guns. They all become arrogant, they become all seriously corrupted, the whole city.